Oh, sorry, I had the background music on now. Welcome to this week's episode of MOAR Tech. I'm your host, Michael Amorgan. And this week, we are talking about Google in the sense of a few things. So we're going to be talking about Google themselves and something that they're doing. No, it has nothing to do with the scandal that's currently going on about sex. What's this? Ooh. Anyway, apparently there are about 40 people that were laid off in the past, a little over 40, over the past 2 years due to sexual misbehavior, essentially, at Google. And that is coming out about around now. I know Chris, my co-host, he'll be on here shortly. He had to deal with some business. But I would like to also take a moment just to let everyone know, Halloween is coming up, and with Halloween, there comes a lot of activities that happen. There's trick-or-treating, there's going out and partying, getting drunk, there's just a lot of being reckless on a whole. In the name of trick-or-treat, or more of the trick or more of the treat, whichever side that you actually tend to swing on. I say all this to say, please, everyone, take care of yourselves, so you don't do anything too reckless that, you actually, I put this, well, don't do anything that you wouldn't want others to do to you, I think is the best way to put it. Go out, enjoy yourselves, preferably not to the point of a blackout, preferably not to the point of you throwing up on someone or something, preferably not to the point of you wrecking your car, possibly something far worse. And if you're about to TP someone's house, well, I mean, it's all in good fun, but at the same point, imagine how you having to clean that up in the morning. Same thing with egging, or whole like poop in a bag thing. I don't know if people still do that. Do people still do it? But yeah, we're gonna start getting into the actual topics, and like I was saying, the first topic is actually more based on something that's very similar to the Cambridge Analytica situation that was happening, where developers were giving information. Well, it was Facebook platform giving developers way too much information, and people are feeling that there might be something going on with Google and giving the developers giving too much information to Google. So it's kind of like a little bit of a switch. The reason where this is coming from is an interesting source. It's called The Inquirer. And they are saying that 88% of free Android apps are sharing data with Google. And, this shouldn't necessarily become like widespread. I'm actually surprised it became a thing, period. My personal opinion. Simply because of the fact that, most and pretty much all apps share information with Google at some point. Be it crashes, be it analytics, which help developers, by the way. But I mean, the same information Google has to have if the developers want to use it. Not only that, it kind of helps them figure out how best to actually build services, both developer and Google. And if you guys, you guys don't feel like what I'm saying is 100% or you disagree, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Feel free to hit me up in the Discord chat. I'll be looking at both as the show goes on. And, if you listen to this via the podcast and you're in the Discord, then, we could have a discussion in the Discord anytime. That's not a problem. But as someone who manages apps for a company, and as someone who's looking to build apps in the future, as an app developer, I need certain information. I need to know if you're having crashes. Typically, I prefer to know how many times people are opening the app, downloading the app, uninstalling the app. There's a lot of information that Google gives you. Now the only thing is, when it comes to iPhones and iOS more specifically, things change up a little bit in the fact that, hey, you can opt in, you can opt out. Some stuff you can't opt out of, some stuff you can. But overall, this information is actually pretty important so that we know that people are actually using our services, especially if it's a free app. And that's what we're talking about here with this first topic. 88% of these apps are sharing information with Google. And so essentially what this place is saying is that it first reported on the Financial Times suggests that nearly 90% of free apps are leaking data back to Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google, which can then be used in the increasingly cutthroat world of online advertising. And that's the little part that's a little weird for me. But let's continue. Cross-referencing this data with that collected from elsewhere can easily yield a huge wealth of data such as age, location, gender, and then of course there's the rest that can be deducted by the types of apps you have on your phone and what you do with them. That most developers don't have. And not only that, Google can request permissions and build that in. The apps themselves don't necessarily need to do this. The apps ask for storage information, call history, text history, camera abilities, and that's it for most apps. Like, they don't necessarily need more than that. And most of them don't even need most of that. So I'm a little surprised by this. And most of the free apps that I have don't ask me for all that many permissions, if any at all, other than storage. And that's just to download the files so that it can actually update and so on and so forth, or store files for me. Now, apparently Google has criticized the methodology of the report, telling the BBC, I love how they say the BBC, it mischaracterizes ordinary functional services like crash reporting and analytics and how apps share data to deliver those services. Across Google and in Google Play, we have clear policies and guidelines for how developers and third-party apps can handle data, and we require developers to be transparent and ask their user permission. If an app violates our policies, we take action. They then say, but campaigners, and this is the part that I'm a little wondering about. Campaigners. Typically when you hear campaigns, there's some sort of an agenda there. And maybe this is bring awareness to it. I am a little skeptical. Anyway, they say that they remain concerned about the level of transparency afforded to customers, with it often remaining unclear to the end user what their data is being used for, why, and how to opt out. Campaigners are keen to emphasize that the level of data being collected far outweighs the necessities of the company's ability to provide a service and are instead being collected purely for profit. I pretty disagree with that, but let's continue. Personal data and its usage has been the front and center since the Cambridge. Okay, they pretty much go into there. They say, although there's no suggestion that Alphabet has done anything underhanded per se, the issue often offers further evidence of the extent to which this type of collection is going on amongst those who haven't been rumbled for it yet. Of English. Anyway, essentially, so Juan is saying, I like how they ask for permission to gain access to such information like calls and contacts or camera Otherwise, I do not like the spying in it. And I agree. I completely agree. I don't actually think anyone's really spying. Looking at it, and I mean, I hate the fact that this source article is a paywall article by the Financial Times, so I can't read directly from the source. Um, but at the same time, I don't see how that's typically something that Google would be getting from the app developers. It's more, those permissions are more so that the app developers can get information about your device, and that was built in to pretty much be a means to avoid situations like this from actually happening. Um, so I'm a little confused as to where this report is really coming from, to be quite honest. And we have Chris here now. Don't know if his camera's going to work with him today.
This thing's so hormonal.
We were kind of going over the report there that was saying like 88% of free Android apps are giving leaking information to Google, and I was saying from my point of view, like, for the most part, these are things that the developers themselves want information to, not necessarily Google, because it's their platform. They could technically get that information from the Play Store themselves since they built it. And the developers, they're the people that want to know, like, hey, how many people are actually downloading my app? They're pretty much trying to get whatever information they can so they can better tailor the app for their consumers. But what was your take on that entire thing?
I mean, it's just kind of like a situation where it's like, I mean, it kind of comes across as bad. I mean, it's like unsettling a bit because it's like, I mean, he's sending off all this information to Google, and I mean, people like Google and Facebook, they find very creative ways in order to use this information generally. And if you're sending that, I mean, even though that's not what's them to stop them from like sending more information, because like Google routinely asks you, hey, do you want to like send information from based off like error reports and this and that and all that? Like they just mine data, so they may not be interested in it, but you never know down the line what they may realize. Oh, hey, we could do this. Oh, we have all this data. Oh, let's do this, and like let's take this data and then let's go ahead and like do this thing with it. And it's like I don't know. It's just kind of risky. And I mean, actually, trust. I don't know. I haven't been trusting Google or Facebook that much as of late.
I mean, essentially since the whole Cambridge Analytica thing.
No. Just in their practices and the kind of like I don't know. I just think they do like a lot of shady stuff. Like they know how to skate along that edge or that border of, oh hey, we're not breaching your privacy. We actually really care about your privacy, but at the same time, like they're not trying to do anything that benefits the actual customer. They're just trying to do things that make it seem like it's benefiting the customer, but it's really benefiting them and allows them to make more. Because I mean, Facebook is like what, number 1 for ad revenue right now? They surpassed Google already.
Really?
Yep.
I'd have thought that would have gone down over time, like especially
Amazon is actually about to surpass Google too.
Oh.
Yep. That's because Facebook is everywhere, and because Facebook is everywhere, they can create like these ad networks, so they can guarantee people. They be like, listen, you give us your ads, we can guarantee you'll see like 100,000 people. We can guarantee you'll see 1 million people. We can guarantee you'll see 4 million people. Like just because they have like Facebook widgets and pixels are everywhere, so they're literally collecting your data even though you're not on Facebook as you travel around. And so they have this profile for you, and they can go to advertisers and they be like, listen, you want people who like shoes? We know people who like shoes. You want people who like iPhones? We know the people who like iPhones. We know the people who go look up the articles because they're on the site with all the articles, so they'll know that okay, this is an iPhone article, whatever, and this person went on and viewed this article. Like they know a lot about people. Like it's ridiculous how much they. And that's from without you ever sign up for Facebook.
But I know Firefox actually brought out something, and I have a feeling it's going to slowly start to become a thing, especially since Safari had started off with it as well. They're pretty much restricting it and sandboxing it to just that one site that has your information. Like, so if you switch to another site, it won't say it's the same person, kind of.
Yeah, Safari has that, but they've already found workarounds for that. Facebook has found a workaround for that. A lot of the major remarketers, they have also found a workaround for that, because that I can tell you from just doing my job, because I do e-commerce, and yeah, I'm an e-commerce analyst. So I mean, I have to do I've set up stuff like remarketing campaigns and stuff like that. So one of our concerns, of course, my boss's concerns is like, listen, are these campaigns are we going to see a lower performance as a result of these things? Especially since for us, most of our customers use Safari. So it was like a big thing for us. It was like, are we going to lose performance? This is like going to start sending less money and less users to us. And they were like, they're looking into it. As of now, yes, it will. But then like even before it launched, they found a solution and they found a fix, and they launched the fix before Apple launched their change in Safari. So there was literally no downtime.
That is
literally none.
Crazy.
So it was like, oh yeah, Safari made this fix. Oh, hey. Nah, they already prepared for that. They already made adjustments. Both Facebook and, like I said, it's like at least 2 or 3 other major remarketers that we were talking to at the time. Trust me, I don't trust these people.
Now, and before we go on, like I'm noticing your webcam's still doing this crap from us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna probably have to restart to get this, and I don't want to do that because I'm pretty sure I have some updates that's waiting to attack me.
I know what happened one time we tried that.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested.
Do you want to try Skype?
Yeah,
your audio is a little. Your audio is a little funky too, for what?
Oh. Yeah, sure. I'll try Skype.
Okay.
Let's see.
But I mean, while we do that, then I mean, I get it, but at the same point, how are the free apps leaking information to Google? Google's pretty much denying it. Forthright and saying, it's just information.
And that's
like
another thing. For Google to come on and be like, oh yeah, no, shut up, Google.
Thank you for telling me my camera was paused. I don't know what's going on with my computer either.
My camera's paused. On black.
Well, you're just spinning for me. And one, yes, Google Plus is going to be shuttered. I mean, come on, seriously, Google Plus had a really good chance of starting out, but they just continuously screwed it up, and barely anyone uses it now. It's very niche. It's mainly controlled by porn advertising spam bots, which is sad because I actually used to really enjoy Google Plus.
Yo, I feel lied to. There are pre-order bonuses for Red Dead Redemption.
Nice.
Look, I almost played myself. Wow.
Told you there'd probably be stuff. Wait, did I? I don't remember.
No, you told me a theme.
Oh yeah, that is right. I said a theme. No, that was Soul Calibur.
Oh.
You know it could also be back? Your Pixel 3 if you've scratched it.
That is true. That is true.
A lot of people are freaking out about, oh my god, the Pixel 3 scratches. Oh my god, it's the worst scratching ever. You put it in your pocket. I know, just your keys being inside there too. Scratches the back up. Oh, blah, blah, blah.
I mean,
It's not even scratching. Like, I mean, come on. Your keys can't, like, I'm so glad Erica did a video on this because there were threads before. And Erica showed, you know, I mean, Erica's cool and all, but I don't really watch her videos that much. But I'm incredibly glad she did this video. She literally took the Pixel 3, took some keys, and just like ran it all over the back. And then after she did that, she also did like several very, very hard like scratches on it.
mm-hmm.
And then all she did was she took some soap, some water, and a toothbrush, and she just cleaned it. And they all came off. And the reason why they came off was because the Pixel 3 is not scratching. You cannot scratch glass, like the level of hardness that that glass is at. A key cannot scratch that because a key is at like maybe I think a 6, and the glass is like way, way, way harder than that, and a 6 can't scratch that. And so what's happening is the keys, because they're softer than the glass and because the etch is kind of porous, what
Uh-huh.
it's doing is it's actually scratching the key, and the key is leaving residue on the phone, and it's getting into the pores of the micropores of the oh, what do they call it? It's at the tip of my tongue. Ooh, the etch on the back of the glass. So the etch on the back of the glass is like really, really porous. So there's a lot of tiny little micro holes in it, and when the key gets scratched on it, the key is being scratched or whatever else is being scratched, and the residue from that is getting lodged into the actual tiny little microscopic holes in the etch. And so that's why it looks like a scratch, because they're just like kind of sitting in there, and you have to like, and they don't wipe off because they're inside the holes. So the only way to really get them out is to like kind of scrub them out with like soap and water. But it's not scratching, so guys, just be careful. And if you have a Pixel 3 and you've scratched it, the only thing you really need to do is just clean it, which will take a little bit of water and soap and elbow grease. That's pretty much it. But I mean, it's annoying. Anyway, I mean, that doesn't make it like fine, but it is a relief to know that the phone isn't scratching, you know? It's just getting a lot of residue or a lot. I mean, I don't know what you could call that. Like,
I am taking a look at because I know Jerry rigs everything. At least I know he used to use particular types of or
sorry,
it's someone that
I can hear you.
okay. I was saying that I know there's someone that typically does like different hardness, like does tests based on the hardness of different materials to see like if it's actually causing damage and at
You
which
can't
level does
scratch
it
the
do it.
top of the phone. Like, and that's the thing. Like, she took the key and she put it right on the top of the back glass next to the camera, and she did it like a punch, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So, I mean, that same material is underneath the etch. So, your phone isn't scratching. Like, it's literally underneath the etch. And so, like, if it was really scratching, what you should have seen was that black glass. That's what you should have seen. But you don't. You see this, like, very, very, like, light gray color. And that's not the glass. That's not the material that's underneath the etch that they have. So, it can't be scratching the phone. And you can't do it again to the material that's right to the glass that's right above it. The whole back is glass. The entire back is one piece of glass, and they just put an etch over like the part, like the bottom part of it, to give it that like token pixel look.
Now, one thing I'm noticing, like this guy is quite literally using a razor to scrape off the paint of the edges. That's something completely different.
Yeah, no, completely different. Yeah.
And he did a burn test on it as well. After 30 seconds, it died. But then, according to this, it came back up afterwards and recovered. Like, what? This is...
It's just not as bad. I mean, it's just not as bad as people are making it seem. You know, like everyone's like freaking out and like going wild over, oh my god, it scratches, but it's really, one, it's really not scratching, and then two, you could just clean it off.
I mean, if all it takes is just you using a
I mean,
toothbrush.
the Pixel has problems, a lot of problems. Scratching is not one of them.
I actually just read an article. Well, I saw an article where Sundar Pichai, who's, you know, the guy who's in control of Google at this point, said that he talks about the challenges, but that everything is progressing well in the world of that. They are getting let's see. Answer questions by emphasizing that it is only Google's third generation of hardware. Also, in the first 2 years, Google was struggling to meet early demand. Wait, what? Didn't you guys can manage the Nexus line?
Yeah, but that wasn't their hardware.
That is true. That was them saying they wanted this particular kind of design and stuff like that. You're right. Okay, in talking about this year's hardware, the CEO noted how 2018 is the first time the company built phones end-to-end in a near confirmation that Foxconn is now manufacturing than HTC or LG in prior years. From that new starting point, Google is ramping up. More broadly, Google is seeing year-over-year progress. Pixel line. He does end on gating factors, again naming production and manufacturing as well as go-to-market strategy, saying there are gating factors to this ramp up. First of all is to be able to build the supply we need, which has always been their issue. Second is go-to-market, getting ourselves in as many locations in retail as possible and as many countries as possible and as many carrier certifications as possible. However, he ends the comment with a note saying that Google is making progress in each of those dimensions. We should see the first indicators of how successful the Pixel 3 and 3 XL are, so on and so forth. Next quarter after holiday shopping season. And then it just goes on to other random stuff. But based on that, they're looks like they're kind of expecting to have their next phone really go worldwide, or at least in a lot of the major countries around the world.
That's nice, Google.
So essentially, you're taking the same stance as like when people are comparing the iPhone to the Pixel 3 in speed test now.
What do you mean?
How iPhone is essentially stomping the Pixel 3 in the speed tests and stuff like that.
Oh, the benchmarks, yeah. I mean, no. That's not my concerns with Google. My concerns with Google is they're, oh yeah, we're gonna go worldwide. Whatever. Y'all could have been selling these things worldwide from a long time, and you guys just haven't. And you guys are poor supporters of worldwide releases in general. Like, I mean, the store itself, I mean, I can't even order something from your store because I'm in a certain country. Screw you guys, Google.
That is true. And let's not even get into their services, which geolock people out and stuff.
Yep. So, I mean, they can say worldwide all they like, but we all know that ain't the case. And that's not going to be the case.
I would like for it to be the case, but I do have the same kind of feelings that you do. Like, it will either take a really long time before that happens, or it just won't happen, period. And they're just going to stay...
They can just do the same thing they did this year, where they were like, oh man, y'all think y'all have heard everything about the Pixel 3. You were right. That's exactly what they're going to do. You guys think we're not going to launch worldwide. You're right. That's exactly what they can do.
I mean, okay, so taking a look, for Americas, they only have the United States, Brazil, Canada. They have Canada twice, English and French. They have Mexico and Puerto Rico. So essentially 5 countries.
6.
No, you can't count Canada. English.
They have it twice. It can count twice.
How is that counting twice? No, that is the same country, just different languages.
Okay, Canada and Canada.
What? No, that's like saying the Bahamas, English, Spanish, Creole. Like, it's the same Bahamas.
Canadese.
Wow. Stop trying to push this. It's only 5 countries for the Americas.
Google has 6.
It is
Google has
one.
6 listed.
I see 5 flags.
That's nice.
So I see
6
5
countries though.
Moving on. For Asia Pacific, I see Australia, Hong Kong twice. Don't even start that crap again. India, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, and Thailand. So that's 12. That looks like. For those of you on the podcast, the look I just gave him just now, like I want to strangle this man right now.
Oh man.
Moving on to Europe. Oh god, we have some more of these. So we have Australia. We
Add
have
more cookies if you think it's 14 countries.
Oh my god. Yeah, actually, yeah. Let us know on Twitter. At more cookies.
Only if you think it's 14. If you think it's
no.
Add it all.
If it's 12,
if
it's
you don't think
12 or
14.
if it's 14, we want to know what you think. Let us know 12 or 14 countries for Asia Pacific. You can go and take a look yourself at store.google.com. That's where I'm looking at this stuff. Do not let Chris win this.
Listen, everyone who asks for 14, you can get a free More Cookies t-shirt.
Oh my god. This t-shirt thing again.
You're gonna get
This
a free More Cookies t-shirt, and More Cookies will gladly send you free More Cookies t-shirt for everyone who
Wow.
asks.
Wow.
More Cookies.
Wow.
It's 14.
Wow.
14.
Wow. Okay, so Chris is going to be sending them to you.
No, More Cookies will be
He
sending
is someone in More Cookies.
More
So
Cookies.
he'll be sending.
I'm not More Cookies. I'm Chris. I don't have More Cookies t-shirts. More Cookies has More Cookies t-shirts.
I don't have More
Therefore,
Cookies
More
t-shirts.
Cookies will be sending
I
out
have
to
the
you guys.
older ones that we are working on a redesign. So I mean, if you're interested in t-shirts, message us on that as well.
Look, More Cookies ahead of the game with that redesign for you guys.
My God, why did I say anything? Oh my gosh, we've got Europe. Going back on topic now, we've got Europe with Australia, Belgium twice for Dutch and French, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland twice for German and French, and the UK. So that's about 20 right there.
24. Oh man, guys,
Chris.
that's the new number, 24.
Chris,
Just on that 24
I
hours
will
in a
strangle
day.
you when I see you.
You
I
have
hope you
24
realize
hours
this.
to at More Cookies on Twitter for your chance at a free More Cookies t-shirt.
Jesus. Oh my gosh. For those who like the look on his face right now is like
I'm happy for you guys. Like, I'm glad that I could have facilitated you guys to get like these free t-shirts, man.
I love how you're speaking for More Cookies. And you'd be willing to facilitate getting them these t-shirts once the redesign happens.
I'm just letting the people know. They need to know. Okay, that's it. I'm not speaking for More Cookies. I'm just informing the people. That's it.
My God. I need that meme. I need that video where the guy's like, "Oh my God, my God."
Oh my God.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That dude. Like I need him right
Oh
now.
my God.
Oh. Anyway. So yeah. And all, like with that, they have a lot of countries listed. It's not enough. They have the bigger countries. Let's see Jamaica there. Let's see Turks and Caicos. Let's see the Bahamas. See, Chris is already like shaking his head saying no. They want to be worldwide. You kind of have to go to worldwide. You have to at least put yourself in one place in the friggin' Caribbean, not just Latin America. Somewhere in the West Indies. No?
So one person from there could buy the phone. Oh yeah, we got like what? $1,000 from the entire Caribbean. Yay! That's one phone.
Work with the carriers. Like, let that be inside their range.
Please, they only have one carrier already. They're not even across all carriers in the States. I knew one to be across a Caribbean carrier when they ain't even across all carriers in the States. True that.
I mean, they were saying it was supposed to be working with AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon, I think. Or what? No, AT&T,
They
T-Mobile.
only have one
Verizon.
carrier in the States. That's Verizon. For you can use it with
right
other
now.
carriers, but they're only sold in one carrier. They're only sold in one.
Yeah, you are right with that. Which is another issue. But I think that's mainly because they just wanted to get the word out there and Verizon.
Listen, that's just the States. And they trying to go worldwide.
Oh, again, this is their third phone.
How about y'all go carrier wide first? How about that?
Well, hold on. Remind me, when the iPhone first came out for those first 3 years, did they reach out? Were they actually...
If they could time travel and go back those 3 years when the iPhone was there, they're competing in a different space right now. The iPhone had literally no competition when they came in. It blew everything out of the water because nothing else offered what it offered. I'm sorry, Google. The only thing that you offer that the competition does not have is your camera. That is it. That is absolutely it.
Actually, does have a point.
I can't even say that, the pure Android experience is what you're offering either, because at this point now, other competitors, they have skins that are so close to the pure Android experience, it really doesn't matter again.
And some quite literally are just running the pure Android experience.
So it's like, I mean, they don't even have that anymore. Then they come out with this phone that have 4 gigs of RAM. Where you going with this? Google, what you doing? Now everyone have like these different hardware, like, I mean, memory issues and memory leaks and stuff like that. I wonder why, Google. Maybe it's because you decided to only put 4 gigs of RAM inside of your phone. If it was 6, it would perform so much better.
It's true. And a lot of phones that are coming out there that are supposedly the flagship killers are having like 6 and 8 gigs of RAM.
Listen, there are phones coming out at half the price that have 8 gigs of RAM. Half the price.
So right now, I'm a little worried for Pixel. Like, you and I both said we're not getting the Pixel, and I think we're both happy with our Pixel 2 XLs. Especially since we're going to be getting a lot of the same camera stuff, which is...
like 6 months later.
I mean, there was already the APK that enabled the night scene and stuff like that.
We ain't getting them no time soon. I'm not even looking forward to seeing them anytime soon. I'll be shocked if we get them before the year's out.
I mean, I'm downloading that APK so I can actually test out night scene, personally speaking.
Yeah, I don't want an APK. I want it to be enabled natively. And that's not going to come until like next year when the Pixel 4 comes out.
I don't know if it's going to take that long. No, seriously, like...
you'll literally be knee deep in talking about the Pixel 4 when they finally release this for the Pixel 2.
Okay, Mr. Pessimistic. I'll be a little optimistic and say I expect it in 4 months. 4 months, 4 months of it being released on the Pixel 3X and the 3XL. Within 4 months of that time. And I expect that to be within the next 2 to 3 months.
Like 2 months already gone. Yeah, 1 month already gone. Just about we're the end of October. Release the beginning of October.
That's true, but when did people actually start getting them? Not reviewers. When I forget exactly when like the shipping dates were.
You could have walked inside a store in Verizon and picked one up. What do you mean?
But that's for Verizon. What I mean is actually like shipping.
People had it in their hands. Consumers had it in their hands. Actually, if we really want to go by that, people had it from in their hands before launch. So I mean,
that is not what I mean. That is not what I mean.
This phone been out.
That is not what I mean at all.
We coming close up to this 4 month mark already.
Oh my gosh.
But it's been about 1 month since launch. 4 months for yes. One got it. 4 months for free. More cookies, t-shirts. Oh man, that's gonna catch on.
Oh my god. Chris.
Oh man. Yes.
Oh my. You know what? No.
Yes,
No.
Juan. Yes.
Oh. Stop enabling him, Juan. Chris, stop enabling Juan.
See?
And Juan, stop enabling Chris.
Your fans want this. I'm telling, like, come on, that's like the proof right there. Like, oh man, this is what they want. Gotta give the fans what they want. Oh man.
Oh, anyway, so Pixel is fighting a losing battle at this point. If they're not going to
No.
change,
No.
if they don't change their strategy, they are.
No. What are you talking about? People love the Pixel 3. Are you crazy? People love the Pixel 3. Love it. They absolutely love it. Do you know why?
Why?
Because they don't care. They don't care. The Pixel 3 has a great camera. It has the best camera out there. They don't care.
Using your words, and I used this inside the last episode of MOAR Tech, the Pixel is pretty much just a camera with a smartphone body on it.
Yes. Why do you think Instagram is so big? Because people love taking pictures.
Of the wrong things.
Yes, they just love taking pictures. And the Pixel allows them to take better pictures than everyone else. Therefore, they will get the Pixel.
Okay, but at the same point, compared it to the iPhone, well, there's a lot of people going for the iPhones as well, just simply because it's more optimized. If Google isn't trying to
People
optimize...
going for the iPhone because Apple tells them to buy it, and therefore they're going to buy it. That's it.
No,
Yes.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ just simply because the speed is better. It's performing much better because it's more
the people who
optimized.
care about speed aren't buying Apple because the iPhone is not the fastest phone on the market. The iPhone is not the best phone on the market. It is not.
For
Not
that, most people...
performance-wise,
Okay, hold on.
not design-wise.
For what people can actually buy in this side of the world, what are you saying is?
For the best phone on the market right now.
On this side of the world.
I mean, you can still get those phones on the side.
See, this is exactly what I meant. This is exactly what I meant. You talk about the stuff that's over in like Europe and China and places like in Korea. They exist, but you can't really get them that easily over here. You can't walk into a store, using your words, you can't walk into Verizon.
That's a very good question. What optimize means?
I love how you're trying to change the subject.
This is currently the subject. We literally were talking about, hey, performance specs and comparisons between the phones, and he asks, that is a performance question. What does optimize mean?
Okay, so one, optimize means that the software is actually tuned to work better with the hardware. Apple has been doing this fairly well with their stuff for quite some time now, which is the reason why they could have had very good speeds with only like 1 gig or 2 gigs of RAM inside their iPhones. They pretty much base their hardware and code their software to work hand in hand with one another. And they've done a very good job of it over the years, even with their MacBooks and so on and so forth, which is why a lot of people who do content creation and video editing and stuff like that, that was why those devices were the content creator devices. You wanted better videos rendered, you went with a Mac. If you wanted gaming, you probably went with a PC, just simply because it had more power for starters, and also at the same time, well, there were just simply more games for it being made than the Mac. And so you didn't have to run a boot camp or like parallel or something like that to actually install Windows on your Mac just for it to work, and maybe not even that work properly all the time. And so that's essentially what they did with the iPhone. Like, even though the iPhone has maybe like 2 or 3 gigs of RAM inside of it, it has whooped the Pixel 3 in terms of speed. And that's part of the reason why Chris is very adamant not to answer which phone is the best phone on this side of the world.
It ain't the Pixel 3. I can tell you how much.
That's what I'm saying.
No, with that, what you call it?
4 gigs of RAM?
4 gigs of RAM? Wait, what is that? Wait. That is just disrespectful.
He says Vicky would love to hear that. I'm pretty sure she'd love to hear this entire episode from what we've been talking about. But no, okay. To your point, Chris, I will admit, there are much better Android devices out there that will whoop both of their phones out, both the iPhone and the Pixel 3 in terms of performance. But on this side of the world, all we have are the Razer Phone 2, which is yet to be fully released. We have the iPhone XS and XS Max, the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL, and the Note 9, along with the Asus ROG phone, which I saw on Twitter. But yeah. So, which would you say is probably the best, performance-wise?
Performance-wise?
Yeah, performance-wise, not camera,
I
performance.
don't know. I haven't used any of them.
Okay. Well, Apple Insider.
And it depends on what kind of performance too. Because I mean, for media consumption and stuff like that, I would say the Razer for sure. Um, for just general usage, I would probably go with iPhone. Um, for like work and stuff like that, I'll probably go with the Note 9.
And for the camera, you would go Pixel.
Pixel. I mean, there's like no competition there.
There.
Like the Pixel 3 blows everyone else so far out of the water. Like, I mean, it's rough.
I think. Let me actually take a look. What? Oh no, they don't have the Pixel 3 listed here. But I took a look. I just opened up DxOMark, which is the company that essentially runs the ratings for a lot of on what people stand by when it comes to the best phone cameras out there.
Why, but whatever.
The Pixel 2 has a 98, but the top rating phone right now is the Huawei P20 Pro, followed by the iPhone XS Max. It's interesting. I really would love to see where the Pixel 3 falls inside their line.
Who cares? It looks way better.
I mean, just from the features alone, that's blowing stuff out of the water. People are amazed just from what a modded version of the camera app that enables the feature, which isn't even live yet, what it's doing. Imagine once it's actually out there, running and actually optimized, and they've actually fixed things out. I say the Pixel 3 is going to be the next smartphone camera of the year for 2019, personally speaking.
Why isn't the Huawei P20 Pro on the West? Oh my god.
I mean, pretty much all the...
Wait. This is Amazon.com. It is.
It is?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Ha! So you can get it in the West. Oh my god. That's my answer. The Huawei P20 Pro.
Is your best phone of performance-wise?
So far? This does everything, buddy. This is like amazing.
Juan's asking, what is with the 12 megapixel camera? In which phone exactly are you talking about?
Yeah, which one are you talking about?
12 megapixel is just seen as, I mean, there's 12, 8, and 16 are typically the go-to ones that most people go for. There's nothing really special about it. It's just the amount of pixels, dual pixels, the sensor size, and the aperture. The last two, the aperture and the sensor size, are the most actually important parts of it. That's why the Pixel has a larger sensor size and a lower aperture, which is typically better for low light. And then they just enhance everything with software. Oh, why are the Pixel phone cameras so special? Well, it's because they pretty much enhance the hardware, and this is what's been difficult for a lot of people, with the software that they're creating and using AI and stuff like that to build on it.
Like, they pretty much, like, because if you look at the Pixel phone only has one camera. But if you look at pretty much every single other phone that's coming out, and you look at how much phones they have on the back, they have at least like 2 or 3 cameras, even 4 in some cases. And they need that in order to try like up the quality. And Google has found a way through just their AI and machine learning to actually mimic that or cheat that by just using their software to, in real time, fill in and edit that data. So as that data is coming in, it's literally editing it based on the AI and stuff like that. And so when you get the picture, it's processing it. I shouldn't say edit. Right word is process. So it's processing it at way better because it doesn't need the additional camera. It just can use pretty much their software, the AI, to pretty much process it to look a lot better. And so even though, like, to put this into perspective, the new iPhone, the iPhone XS Max, that doesn't beat the Pixel's 2 camera. To put that into perspective, and the Pixel 3 beats the Pixel's 2 camera. So no, it's not doing Photoshop. It's doing processing. It's every camera has a chip inside of it. So when they take a picture, the chip processes that image before it sends it to you. That's where Google is. Google is doing that, and their software is in their chip doing that. So every Pixel phone has, they call it a Pixel chip. Lame name. But but their Pixel chip is what's doing that processing when it takes the photo. So it's taking the photo and it's processing it and then outputting it into the raw image that you see. So it's not doing Photoshop. Every camera has that process. And they're just, they just have their AI sitting in there handling that process for them. So the AI can do a lot more.
So one example of that's happening with that they showed off at the Pixel 3 launch, though. I'll actually give you 2 examples. One is the night scene, which is the one that people have enabled via the APKs, which is pretty much a modded, an application, just the file of it that you can sideload onto the phone. You don't go into Play Store or anything like that. You just have this file, you install it on your phone, and it opens it up, like installs it as an app. What that is doing essentially is it's using the different waves of light and any beams of light that it can pretty much get, and takes all of it in, and then processes it to give you almost like if you're taking a photo in daytime. With their new zoom version that they're doing, which is software based as well, because the camera doesn't actually have a zoom. What they're doing is you do a digital zoom. So on your screen, you go like that and you zoom in to whatever it is that you want to zoom in on. And based on the shaking of your hand as you're holding it, it's going to stabilize the picture because it's getting information about the subject, even as your hand shakes a little bit. And when you actually take the photo, it's going to take all of that information and then give you a crisp or much crisper image quality than you would have just gotten normally. And APK is not just Pixel only, it's Android. Yeah, so it's Android. iPhone has something similar. I forget the name because it's been years since I started fiddling around with I think it's IPX or something like that. OS app file is IPA. That's what it's called. No, ISO is something completely different. That's more for cameras and stuff like that. Well, I should say no, IPA, not APA. But no one's Jewish watermelon flavored toe. Also, very interesting name. Very, very interesting name.
How is it interesting? Use a toe that is watermelon flavored.
How would he know? How would you know that you have a toe that's watermelon flavored?
Or he made like watermelon flavored toes. We don't be judging in 20.
Why would someone have a watermelon flavored toe? Did they stick it in the water?
We don't be judging in 2018.
It's not judging.
Some
It's me
people
trying
like
to understand.
Some people like toes, and so they may, put some like watermelon flavor on their toe, so their toe could taste like watermelon. Because they, have a partner who likes toes.
Okay. One is saying, so we download app to our Android to get pictures to look great in Pixel. What I'm saying is, to unlock that version of the camera, which is yet to be released, someone went into the app, modified it, enabled that particular setting, and is now releasing that modded version of the application out there. To install that, you would need to install the APK or that file. That's how that works. But Chris, so what did you think? I've been touching on it, but what did you think about the speed test, essentially the benchmark test?
I mean, it just goes to show that they really didn't care much about their hardware, and they just kind of pushed it like, oh man, camera, 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 and then it's like, but this this 4 gigs of RAM though. Like, I mean, this this how do you think that your phone is going to be so much? Oh no, we put in this chip, the Snapdragon, whatever, blah blah blah. Put your 4 gigs of RAM though. Like, RAM important, like, y'all don't think RAM important? Well, guess what? The speed test shows us RAM is pretty important, guys. You're losing pretty badly here.
I mean, I would have gone with 6, personally speaking, to at least keep up with people, especially if you're gonna have like $1,000 phone.
6, at least. 8 would have been perfect, but at least 6.
I don't even know why anyone would make $1,000 phone.
Oh man, you lucky. I was put a kick in. I have like no. I will legit kick anyone in this chat. Like, I will not mute you. I will kick you. So you lucky, buddy. You are so lucky.
Yeah, and now I'm hiding the chat a little bit until better wording. Please, no
So
profanity.
He's put a kick. Boy, you lucky. You lucky. Mike got there before I did. Oh. Woo.
Yeah. So yeah, watermelon flavored toe got timed out for 600 seconds.
Should have been me. I loose with the banana. Loose.
But anyway, I mean, wow, I actually just noticed their profile picture is actually a foot in a watermelon.
I told you.
Okay, this is not up for later, so I can actually take a.
Oh well, we know what you into.
That is not the reason why.
Okay.
Wow, and they have a picture of Hillary up as their offline image. Okay, yeah, no, never mind. I'm closing that off. I saw some other stuff on their profile page that is not savory.
Okay. Oh, I lost it.
But yeah, so overall though, like, what's your takeaway from everything that we've talked about tonight so far?
The Pixel's not great. As great as other phones, but if you really want a camera, you can get the Pixel 3. I mean, it's kind of the same rhetoric we already know. We already know the Pixel 3 wasn't that great. Wasn't that hot. Yeah, Apple beats it in everything else except the camera. But if you really want a camera and the camera is worth more than everything else, then go with the Pixel 3, I guess. And it's not scratching.
Which is nice. And it also came up
16
after putting it under literal fire for 30. It came back up. Which
But I mean, I don't know why like that is even a test because it's
I
like
don't know. Like,
if your phone is near fire and you're trying to make your phone fireproof, you have other issues to worry about.
the test really
Like why you around fire? Like,
the test really should be like water test, drop test, scratch test.
that's it.
Yeah, like will it blend should not really be a thing, just unless that's your thing.
Oh no, that is a test because people like to put their phones in their back. Actually, no,
Will it
screw
blend?
that test too, and stop putting your phone in your back pocket. Like, I mean, for real.
That's a bend test. Like that. Will it? I said will it blend, not will
Oh,
it bend.
blend.
Yeah.
Blend with what? With makeup? You put makeup on your phone now?
Oh my god, no! Like you put it inside the blender.
There?
Yes,
That's a ridiculous test.
it is. But people were doing it. At least one company was doing it. I should say. I
A
think
better
it was.
test would have been putting makeup on your phone to see if it could take makeup.
You know, it's actually a funny thing because I actually saw like a phone that, after a while, the speaker, like the headset part of it, was sounding very muffled. And when I took a look, I did see makeup like all up inside the grill on it.
Yeah, that's actually reason. That's what I said. It would be a better test than the blender. I was being serious. I wasn't being facetious.
Yeah, no, like that's what I'm saying. Like that is an actual like I was
Right.
giving credence to that. That is
People
an
deal
actual.
with makeup. People wear makeup all the time, so it's like, I mean, you're putting it up to your phone. I mean, you're getting makeup on your hands. You want to know that you'll be able to like wipe off makeup, off your phone.
That makes sense. That actually makes a whole lot of sense. I know these phones, like the Pixel 2s, have had an issue with that as well in the past because of the particular type of grill. If I remember correctly, I think it was the Pixel 1 and the 6P, the Nexus 6P, had almost like a cloth type grill.
Yeah, it was retarded.
And now
I'm not supposed to say that. It was bad and horrible.
yes. And now they're going with metal grills to the point where even the metal grill for the Pixel 3 is scratch resistant as well.
It's water resistant, so who cares? Yay. If it gets anything on it, just run water through it and clean it off.
Well, this is true. Just not salt water. Question.
Why are you cleaning it with salt water? You have other problems.
Oh, I dropped it in the sand. Let me run it out, like clean it inside the salt water. People are dumb.
Oh, man.
People do dumb stuff.
Hey, it's their phone. If they want to run it through salt water, go ahead.
But yeah, that actually kind of is up for tonight.
Yes.
So, quick things. I'd like to thank my co-host Chris for coming on, even though we both were having issues throughout the show.
Hey.
And I'd like to thank the people for actually coming on. Yes, Juan, for the views. Thank you for coming on and actually being a part of the show. I would have thanked Watermelon Flavor Toe as well if they didn't say certain words and, ended up getting timed out and all their messages deleted.
Silenced.
And, if you are watching any part of this and you have missed any part, don't forget, you can go right over to our website, morecookies.com, moarcookies.com. YouTube, More Cookies is where we have the podcast versions and the video versions. And of course, we have the YouTube versions that are at youtube.com/morecookies. If you are more of a podcast type of person, then feel free to listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Oh, Chai Skinny Boy. Oh, okay. I am not going to say that last thing. Apparently you got blacklisted by the bot for spam. But if you were, you were saying certain bad words. Yes, you were. Yeah, you are going to get banned right on the end of the show. So, yeah, if you're more of a podcast person, feel free to check out any of those places. And of course, Feel free to hit us up on Discord where you can actually talk to us like each and every day. We can actually talk about games, tech, general stuff about life, or just whatever comes to mind. We even have a channel for like TV shows and whatnot. So feel free to join in on that. And until next time, well, take care.